Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the PD Rush channel. Today we're going to take a look at the A-Fixed Cup car around the Daytona Road Course. So prior to jumping into this one, I just want to make it clear, I'm not a road racer by any means. I'm not even quick. Around this track, your mileage may vary with some of these tips and tricks, but these are some of the things that I've figured out that really help me. I want to give you a feel for how I'm running the track. I'm capable of running about a minute 54.5 and 6 on a hot lap, which is about 2 seconds off. It's about one or 2 seconds off of some of the really fast people on here. So I'm not expecting to get close to those kinds of numbers because I don't think that single lap pace at a road course is the end all be all to how your race is going to go. And I kind of want to share that mindset with you because that makes road courses a lot more fun. Instead of worrying the whole race about where this guy's getting an extra tenth or something like that, or where you're losing just a little bit of time, just focus on your consistency more than anything when you're getting to grips with these tracks. Focus on putting down laps that are decently solid and you're not making mistakes. You're not running off track. You're keeping the car under you the whole time. Those kinds of things are going to help you a lot more than being able to run like just a badass qualifying lap, but you struggle when you get around other cars, or you struggle at maintaining that consistency. You can put that one lap down every now and again, but it might be another 4 laps before you can even get something close. Because if you can get your consistency down, you're going to gain spots just by virtue of not running off the track and being overall faster because you're not having off tracks. You're not losing, 4 or 5 seconds in a set of corners that the other drivers around you might be messing up at and losing time on. So with that in mind, if you can allow me to change your viewpoint just a little bit here. For any type of racing that you're learning, your main goal should be improvement. It should not be, let me get to the top of the leaderboard as quick as I can. It should always be, seeing what lap time you're capable of, seeing if you're capable of 1 second faster. And if you can, then great. That is a win on the session and you've improved. That should be your primary goal. And then once you've got that mindset, it makes it a lot more fun to experiment with different lines around the track and try different braking zones and different shifting points and things like that. Because you're not beating yourself up if you lose a tenth or two around one of your practice laps or in the race. You can try and experiment with different things. And I do have an example of that later on in the video that we'll talk about. Before we get to the lap, let's take a gander at the track map. So this week, it really matters to look at it. Daytona is a really great and fast road course with several very slow corners, especially in these cars. Now, one thing you definitely have to note, last time that the Cup cars, or A-Fixed cars, were at this track, we had the high downforce package. So we had the big, tall, 55-inch tall spoiler. We had a lot of downforce. We don't have that now. So the rear tires are not nearly as planted into the road as they were before. The front end does not like to turn as much as it did before. It's a real struggle around here until you really get to grips with it, because you have to back up all your braking zones. You have to be so much lighter on the throttle and really concentrate on just not overdriving the car. They do really well when you tend to overdrive them and let them roll into the corner versus forcing them to get down into the corner or off the corner as fast as possible. That's a real easy way to burn up your tires. And once you get the fronts too hot or the rear tires too hot, it's kind of a mess from then on out until you get everything cooled back down. Now we'll talk more about the little nuances of the corners while we're watching the qualifying lap. But right now, I just kind of want to let you know what I'm seeing when I look at this track map. Number one, I'm concentrating on it to try to figure out the layout and notice small things about each corner. For example, take a look at turns 3, 4, and 5. So if you're heading down into turn 3 and you're on the inside, so if you've got that inside line and someone's on your outside, you're going to be on the outside for the kink at turn 4. But that's not really a bad thing. because that's going to set you up to be on the inside of turn 5. So you know that you have a little bit of leeway to play with there. You don't have to fight for the inside off of turn 3. By the same token, if you do get stuck on if you're on the inside of turn 4, which sets you up to be on the outside of turn 5, all is not lost, because then you'll be on the inside for turn 6. So a lot of the road course driving comes down to figuring out where you're most comfortable being, and then putting your car in the right spot at the right time. And knowing if the driver gets on your inside in one corner, they might be on the outside in the next complex of corners, which could actually be beneficial to you. And then taking a look at the backstretch chicane. Now this is cool. This is something I didn't notice until I started taking a look at the track map as well. In that it's not symmetrical all the way through. It's not like a very simple bus stop. The entry is a bit tighter than the exit. And so that's going to dictate how you can get through the corner. So because of that, it's really important to get the vehicle direction changed. So to get the weight shifted over as you make it through that very first part of the chicane and set yourself up for the exit. Because as you can see, you've got a long way to go. You've got NASCAR turns 3 and 4 to get through, so you're on power the whole time. You're going to be getting up to about 180-ish miles an hour in that area. So it's pretty important to prioritize the exit. And the same thing goes for the chicane off of turn 4, off of NASCAR turn 4, so what would be turn 13 on this track map. I like to prioritize the exit, and I take a bit of an unconventional line through there that really works for me, and we'll talk about that after we watch the lap. So as you can see, we came across the line to set a 154.65, which is decent. Made a couple mistakes, it could be cleaner, but it's a tough track, it's okay. So now we'll do more of a walkthrough. We got the focus on the launch coming out of that chicane, and we're looking for the 100 marker just on the inside. It's just past this line in the road here, in the track. That's where you want to start braking. Now throughout the lap, keep an eye on the controls in the bottom left-hand corner. You'll start with a heavy brake pressure, and as you enter the corner, lighter, and then you want to be off when you get about to the apex, and you'll slowly input the throttle and try to accelerate off through this section of the track now. Now coming in here, we just passed that solid white line by the pit exit. You want to start braking right around in that area. Any later and you kind of drive through the course and it's really hard to get woed up for this corner. I tend to stay roughly in the middle right here because there is a bit of a crown in the track. And if I stay kind of in the middle, the car plays a lot nicer with getting down into the corner. And get it real slow and then start with about 50 or 60% throttle until you can feed it back in. Did a little too much right there, but that's alright. Now coming in here, you can probably take this a little hotter. I'm a little conservative through here and you want to meet up with that inside curb. Now we're looking for this black stripe in the pavement. That's where I start slowing down. And you're going to work your way down into the gears and get back down into first gear in this corner. And I tend to stay over to the right a little bit. It lets you brake straighter into that corner so you're not having to start turning the wheel while you're doing the last bit of your braking. It helps quite a bit for slowing the car down. Now get the car turned, and again, be real easy on throttle. Just meet up with that inside curb and start heading your way down here. You want to kind of come out to that curb. Our next braking zone is this yellow curbing just before where the cones start. You're going to get down on the brakes pretty good, but do beware as you enter the corner on this outside, the track gets a bit bumpy, so it's really easy to start getting wheel hop and to lock up the front tires. So this is one of those braking zones that if you're uncomfortable getting in, you can back it up a little bit more and it'll help you quite a bit. Now once again, slow down, there's the bumps. Meet up with this curb, it gets a little bumpy, and on the exit, there's also a bit of a crown right here in the track, so you can expect the car to get a little bit loose on you going through that area right there. Now you're going to start hauling the mail as fast as you can down here, going up through the gears. You're going to near enough hit 200 miles an hour. And if you're in the draft, you're going to have to back your braking zone up a little bit. We're just looking for the 3-board, just right at it, start slowing down. And here's where you get the car turned in and start sliding, get it pointed back to the other side of the bus stop, and be easy on the power through there. Don't get back to the power too soon. I'd recommend waiting until you're just about back on the big oval portion. Now right here, I'm slowing down on this last A in the word Daytona, the first A you're going to come to. Some people slow down on the 7 board right there by the Y. That's too late for me. It doesn't really work out too well. I like to slow down on the A, and you're going to get the car slowed down. One of your goals here is going to be trying to keep the wheels as straight as possible while you're braking. Otherwise, it's really, really easy to lock the front wheels up because we're running the default brake bias pretty much. I'm running 67. You can't really put it back anymore without spinning the car out. You might be able to, not me, I'm not that good. But you'll get the car slowed down as straight as possible before you drive it into the corner. Now I do have a second clip that I'll show in just a second where I take a lower line into the corner, and that really helps you brake straighter and a little bit later. And I also want to note, I'm only in 3rd gear here. I did not go up to 4th gear for this. It's a little bit easier to get the car controlled. And one of the things you can do, instead of going from full throttle to max brake pressure very quickly, sometimes later on in the race, I will back off of the throttle and let the car coast for just a split second before I start hitting down on the brakes. And that really helps to keep the back end in check as I'm coming around to get in here. Now, you're going to shift into 1st gear kind of late. You don't want to do it too soon, or you'll spin the car out, and you really want to avoid those curbs. They're brutal. And try not to touch those and power it out to finish the lap. As this race went on, I managed to kind of pick up a couple more tips that I didn't have when I did the qualifying lap. And I wanted to share those because I'm also excited to try them in a race now. I haven't had a chance to hot lap with them again. The first one that I noticed that this guy in front of me was doing is as we enter into this horseshoe section of the track, he's staying to the right and braking. What that lets you do is brake later and straighter. Otherwise, if you stay on the left-hand side of that of the track right there, you're having to start turning the steering wheel into the right, and you can lock the front tires up a lot easier. So if you hang over to that right side of the circuit, then you keep the steering wheel straighter and you can brake a little better. Just skipping forward a bit here to talk about getting out of the bus stop. I was trying to hold the car low earlier, and it doesn't really work that well. Even though I got squirrely there, power it out and let the car ride up to this wall, because you're keeping the throttle on and the car pointed straight. If you try to keep the car too low, you can lose the back end. And then the final thing is sticking lower right here, braking in the same spot roughly, maybe a little bit deeper, but staying lower on the track lets you do a couple things. You can use the banking to help slow you down, since as you start slowing down, you're going a little bit uphill. And once again, you're not turning the wheels as you're going through that last bit of the corner. So you can brake straighter, which is extremely beneficial. So that is all the tips that I have for you today that I've picked up over the week. I know this video is a little bit late, but man, I really needed some time to get better at this because it was not pretty earlier. So had to had to get into a more presentable um, fashion, we could say. Um, so thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found some more tricks for the track. If you found it helpful, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. I'm going to keep them coming out, and be on the lookout for more. Like I said at the start of the video, I'm not a road racer by any means. I'm trying to pick up all I can, but I'm so far off in so many ways. I've got so much to learn. I don't even know what I don't know. And you can honestly probably say the same for a lot of the oval stuff. But again, that's the whole point of this channel. That's this cool journey that we're on, is to try to learn and keep on improving and getting better. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you all in the next one, and have a good day.